So, und da sind wir wieder bei The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Und Leute, es ist jetzt actually soweit. Es ist Donnerstagabend, der 29.07.2021. Wahrscheinlich viel später, wenn ihr das hier sehen werdet. Und wir spielen jetzt den 5. Fall. Den Finalfall von The Great Ace Attorney Adventures, von dem ersten Spiel. Im letzten Fall noch kurz hatten wir einen Englisch-Student verteidigt und wir haben ihn letztendlich freigesprochen. Wir erwähnen jetzt nicht den ganzen Plot, weil ich glaube, der ist relativ irrelevant. Es fühlt sich eher wie ein Thriller an. Falls er doch noch relevant wird, habt ihr ihn sicherlich auch noch im Kopf, weil ihr werdet ja die Parts vorher gesehen haben, wenn ihr es bis hierhin geschafft habt. Und ja, das einzig Relevante, was noch passiert ist, dass Herlock uns in seinem Dachboden einquartiert hat. Oder in einem Dachboden. Ich glaube, das ist nicht sein Dachboden, aber wir haben jetzt auf jeden Fall ein Büro in London. Und ich fand das sehr interessant, dass es erst in der 4. Episode am Ende dazu kommt. Weil jetzt haben wir nur noch eine Episode in diesem Spiel übrig. Und ja, wir sind gerade mal so in London angekommen. Das heißt, ich habe das Gefühl, wir sind eher hier im Setup für das zweite Spiel, für The Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. Aber ich glaube, jetzt kommt hier auch schon ein bisschen Payoff in dieser Episode. Ich denke mal. Herlock hat noch gesagt, dass London alles super wirkt on the surface, also auf der Oberfläche. Und wenn man die Fassade lüftet, dann ist da ein dunkles Geheimnis und das ist eine sehr, sehr dunkle Stadt. Und ich glaube, was es damit auf sich hat, werden wir jetzt in The Adventure of the Unspeakable Story erfahren. The Adventure of the Unspeakable Story, das Abenteuer von der unaussprechbaren Geschichte, wenn man so will. So, ich mache noch kurz mein Online-Dictionary hier auf. Dann über das öffnen. Über das Fenster. Und dick.cc, das war ja unser treuer Begleiter bisher. Und ja, ich bin mal sehr gespannt, was uns jetzt in diesem letzten Fall erwartet. Wir starten rein. Episode 5. The Adventure of the Unspeakable Story. Oh, sorry.
It's coming! Sholmes's cry pierced through the thick wall of fog around us. Wisps of vapor flowed over the pistol as I cocked it, and I waited, breathlessly, in the stillness. The silence lasted for what seemed an eternity, until, at last, it appeared. From the shadows of the cloud, an enormous beast sprang out upon us. A hound it was, but not such a hound as any mortal has ever seen. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare. The whole of its ox-sized body was outlined in white-hot flames. Its rumbling pant and hideous howl, so terrified was I that I began to tremble with fear. "Look well, Wilson," Sholmes declared, gazing upon the mystical beast. "For this is the diabolical hound of the Baskervilles."
Our first 2 months in London passed by in a flash. In that disconcerting courtroom experience we were first thrown into on the day we arrived in the country. And in the Sosiki-san's terrible ordeal that had followed closely behind, we had emerged victorious. However, there then came an abrupt end to our opportunities to appear in court. Which was hardly surprising, of course, since I was nothing more than an amateur, an unknown student of law from a faraway land. So life in our little office was very quiet. That is, until it was shattered one day by that fateful telegram. 15th April, 9:30 AM, Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Okay, und damit nochmal herzlich willkommen. Ich habe noch gar nicht so richtig was zu diesen Sherlock Holmes Stories am Anfang gesagt. Finde ich immer sehr interessant. Ich habe das Gefühl, die geben nie so richtig viel über den Fall weg. Sie sind immer ein bisschen related dazu. Wir hatten das Steam-Shit, wir hatten den habe ich Steamship gesagt? Steamship. Wir hatten den Omnibus und jetzt halt den Huhn von Basketball und davor auch ein Stabbing, aber ansonsten fand ich finde es sehr interessant, wie die Fälle immer mit so einer kleinen Sherlock Holmes Geschichte starten. Finde ich sehr cool. Aber jetzt geht's erstmal los und wir haben scheinbar ein schicksalhaftes Telegramm bekommen. Oh, sieht schon ein bisschen anders aus. That morning, I was woken by the unreserved knocking on the door by the telegram boy. But after he'd gone, Susato-san's behavior became very obviously strange. Susato-san? Yes? Is it time to leave for court already? Let me see. What case is it today? I don't think I'm scheduled to defend anyone at the moment, am I? Oh, no, of course not. How silly of me. But I think Iris said she would make us breakfast this morning. So shall we go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite? Yes! Iris makes the most delicious breakfast food. She does, doesn't she? And once our bellies are full, we can leap for court in fighting fit form. Let me see. What case is it today? Here we go again. Okay, wir gucken uns erstmal um hier in unserem neuen Büro. Okay, eine Schaufel. That spade has been in here since we started renting the place. Oh, that's not a spade, Naruhodo-san. It's a shovel. Oh nein. Jetzt ist das Trittleiter-Argument aus dem Trittleiter-Streit aus dem 20. Jahrhundert. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. Spade is Spaten. No, spades are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a shovel. I don't want to dig a hole for myself, so let's leave it. Oh Mann. Ah, das kann doch nicht wahr sein. Da hinten ist eine Leiter, die wir aber leider nicht examinieren können. It's spring at last, and the weather is warmer now. But I love the smell of the fire and the steam rising from the kettle. Oh, would you like some tea, Naruhodo-san? Thank you, Susato-san, but I'm alright for now. With the green tea Susato-san makes me from time to time, and I with unique herbal infusions. This place is paradise for a true tea lover. Green tea is such a wonderful accompaniment to British tea cakes, don't you think? So this is the tea set that Susato-san brought with her from Japan. Let's hope she hasn't noticed me slipping sugar and milk into my cup when she makes it. It's just so bitter. Tea is a drink to be enjoyed, Naruhodo-san. You really don't have to force yourself to drink it, you know? I don't like to see you screw up your face so. Oh Mann. Was ist das hier? We've only been here in London for about 2 months, but my desk is starting to look a little messy already. You could tidy up once in a while. Susato-san, I always say, making a mess is a small sacrifice to pay for being able to further your studies. And time spent tidying up is time you can't devote to the same cause. And time spent on ridiculous arguments is time that could be better spent on some simple housework. She wins, but I'm supposed to be the lawyer here. Ihr dürft gar nicht wissen, wie mein Schreibtisch aussieht, also das ist auch schrecklich. Ich bin froh, dass ihr das nicht aus der Kamera seht, aber ich bin da eher wie Wionoske. Er hat gesagt, wir sind seit 2 Monaten in London, ne? Ich habe jetzt gar nichts aufs Datum geachtet am Anfang, aber scheinbar haben wir es jetzt April oder Mai? So ungefähr, würde ich mal sagen. So, was ist das hier für ein Gesicht? Ah, the Daruma doll I brought with me from home, still with only one eye colored in. Ah, ja stimmt, da hatten wir doch, ich weiß nicht mehr in welchem Fall das war, aber das wurde doch schon erwähnt, da hatte ich doch extra noch gegoogelt nach. Ich glaube in Fall 4 sogar, im letzten. I said I'd color the other eye once I won my first case here in Britain, but you have won, haven't you? Twice in fact. Because I feel as though I'm still lacking as a lawyer. I tell you what, why don't you color the other eye and once you think I'm a proper fully fledged lawyer? If you insist. Okay. Okay. Dann haben wir hier weiter nichts. Ist hier was? Oh. Warte, ich wechsle mal rüber. Können wir es immer noch untersuchen. Ah, this must be the telegram. Let's see. Ah! No, you mustn't look at that. Not under any circumstances. Alright, I won't. I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san, but you can be very mischievous at times. Then put the telegram away if you don't want people looking at it. Aber was ist das denn für ein Telegramm? Wird doch noch wichtig sein. Okay. Haben wir hier noch irgendwas? Nein, hier ist nur eine Treppe. Hier, ein Aquarium? We were rather lucky to find that old aquarium left behind here. The prawns we put in there are doing rather well, and the anemones too. The prawns, okay. It's a wonderful invention, isn't it? The sea behind glass, inside your room. Another example of Great Britain's greatness. Having to clean it out and change the water isn't so great though, is it? Oh man. Do you know, I've never seen inside your room there, Susato-san. I've never been peeped inside. I never even peeped inside. I should think so too. A young maiden's private chamber is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know? Whatever you say, young maiden. Okay. Dann können wir runtergehen, I believe. Converse haben wir noch. The telegram. Achso, okay. So, what was it about? The telegram that was delivered this morning, I mean. Oh, a telegram? I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, but you're not going to get away with that. Well, I didn't think I would. Actually, don't give it a moment's thought. It's nothing. Nothing interesting. Boring, in fact. Was ist in diesem Telegramm? Das möchte ich jetzt gerne wissen. Ahem. It was just a boring old telegram. That's 3 times now that she's tried and failed to convince me it was nothing. I promise that I'll tell you about it at some point. Alright, I understand. Okay, Soseki-san. I suppose Soseki-san will have arrived back in Japan by now, won't he? Yes, I should think so. He left immediately after that terrible ordeal. Which would mean he should have completed the voyage already, or be just a few days away. What is an ordeal? Torture. Ah, okay. A fortnight ago, we had that very long telegram from him, do you remember? Complaining of seasickness. But by and large, it seems the voyage has been going well. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? I was just wondering, what might have become of Soseki-san had he stayed in London, that's all. You mean, as regards, Lord Van Zieks, the Reaper? Yes, I can't help wondering if seasickness would have paled into insignificance in that case. The Reaper. What is it they say? That no one who stands in the dock can be saved from the Reaper, right? Like the way that Nightmare's trial ended, on the very day we arrived in London. Even 2 months on, the cause of that dreadful fire is still a mystery. Yes, but at least Soseki-san is safely out of the country now. Presumably that means that the cause of the Reaper can only take effect within the confines of the city of London, perhaps. Even if that's the case, it's little comfort. I have a terrible sense of foreboding. If the legend of the Reaper is to be believed, it would mean he wields the sword of justice himself. Come to think of it, I wonder what he's been up to these past 2 months. Surely, not wielding the sword against more acquitted defendants. No, I don't think so. Apparently, Lord Van Zieks hasn't appeared in court once since our last encounter. Oh. Yes, since Sosik-san's trial. He's withdrawn from judicial service again, it seems. Really? Just like before, when he wasn't seen in court at all for several years. Was ist bloß mit dem Barock Van Zieks? So, it's just been me who's had to face him in his recent spate of trials, eh? Just my luck. I wonder if luck doesn't come into it. Sorry? What was that? Oh, nothing. Never mind. Okay. Dann, was haben wir wir haben nur unser Armband. Okay. Dann gehen wir in Sean's suite, the home and office of the world-famous great detective and his young companion Iris. It seems people from all over the globe come to engage his consulting detective services. When you're ready, let's go down for breakfast. Ja, ich hab Hunger. »15th April, Sean's suite.« Okay, es ist April. Okay, good to know. Morning, Bruno. Morning, Susie. Good morning, Iris. Das ist auch, ne? Bei Iris, wir haben erfahren, dass sie die Assistentin von Sherlock ist, oder Herlock, Entschuldigung, und dass sie scheinbar besser im Deduzieren ist als er, aber sonst halt auch noch nicht viel. Und dass sie halt Doktor ist und Sachen erfindet mit 10 Jahren alt. Aber sonst wird noch rauskommen, dass ihr Vater, wahrscheinlich ihr Vater, tot ist. Iris? What is it, Bruno? What is that terrible noise? It sounds like a cat being strangled. Ah, yes, you noticed that, did you? Hurley isn't in the best form this morning, it seems. Okay. Oh. Hello. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Good morning. A good morning. To die, perhaps. Okay. Has something happened, Mr. Sholmes? You look miserable, and the way you were playing the violin before. My analytical mind is dead. Music is dead. The word is dead. Damn this blanched existence! That's all it is, my dear fellow. Nothing of consequence. Depression oder was? I'm afraid I don't understand. Well, Iris, isn't it time we ate? Some dry toast and insipid coffee for me, if it's not too much trouble. Als ob! Das war auch die Katze, die bei Natsume im Dings war. In der Wohnung, in der Bücherstube. Oh look, it's Wagahai. Good morning, boy. Als ob Herlock hat eine Katze. That must be some sort of tiny door for cats to use. But how did it get there? Well then, everyone, time for breakfast. Oh, wonderful. Let me help you, Iris. It would indeed be a fine day to die. Okay. I knew something looked different. Oh, something's missing from Mr. Sholmes' desk. Dieses große Teleskopapparat-Dingsbums. Converse. Wanting to die. You seem to be very unhappy this morning, Mr. Sholmes. What's happened? It used to be the case that in my hands, this violin sung like a dawn chorus. Its melodic tones would make flowers bloom. It would. But now, the muses are unamused with me. The goddesses of music have thrown me over. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Jones? For hours I have both, for days even. To the night I have endeavored to no avail. That sound, my tone, is lost. That brilliant, clear, unwavering tone. Gone forever, no more residuals of unbridled emotion. Well, you haven't been practicing much lately, have you, Hurley? Don't worry, I'm sure it will come back to you in time. Heed my words, Mr. Naruhodo. The goddesses of the arts are fickle. One day they bestow genius on a man. The next, they unmercifully withdraw it. Oh, dear. Ark! Why is this happening to me? If they take the turn I have for the violin from me, what is left for pity's sake? What is left? Deduction perhaps? Isn't that what you're known for? The missing machine. Mr. Jones, I don't like to pry, but... your desk looks rather empty today. Ah, well done, Mr. Sato. Your observational skills do you credit. Oh, no, Mr. Jones. They pale into insignificance when compared to yours. You'd struggle not to notice, wouldn't you? You mean Early's great analytoscope? That's at Windy Banks now. Sorry? It's at a Windy Bank? No, Windy Banks, the Pawnbrokery. Was ist eine Pawnbrokery? Das ist jetzt die Frage hier. Pawnbrokery. Achso, Pawnbroker ist Pfandleiher. Also Pfandhaus quasi. Pawn? What? You mean you've pawned that enormous machine of yours? Pawned? Verpfändet, okay. It has some considerable value, you see. Quite undeservingly. But isn't it a very important machine for your work? I do wish you had consulted us if your situation had become so desperate. I should have gladly passed that what little income I have to you. Dear madam, things are far from desperate. But the pawnbroker has your wonderful machine. How can it be anything but desperate? Making use of a pawnbrokery is quite ordinary here in London, I assure you. It is. It doesn't sound ordinary at all. It would seem that neither of you fully understand how pawnbroking works. Oh, what's to understand exactly? How pawnbroking works. What did you mean when you said we didn't fully understand how pawnbroking works? To the people of London, pawnbrokeries are akin to banks. Banks? On Mondays, merchants relinquish their finest jackets and trappings to their pawnbroker of choice. With the money they receive in return, they are able to trade happily through the week. And then on Saturdays they go to recover the things using the money they've earned. I had no idea. This has been a fascinating lesson for us. Everyone does it, you see, especially people in inner London. Was machen die am Samstag? Ah, okay. And should they have money to spare, they would purchase another fine jacket. Not to wear, obviously, but to pawn. Should the need arise. Ob das wirklich so ein Geschäft war damals? Das zu verpfänden? Oh, how ingenious. So whenever we have something that's getting in the way, we leave it at Windy Banks. You see? Okay. A pawnbrokery can be thought of as an extremely secure vault. Who would have thought that even pawnbrokers are different here in Great Britain? Of course, you have to watch Shirley with it. Sometimes he pawns things he really shouldn't. Don't you, Hurley? What does it matter? The world is dead to me now. Okay. Gucken wir uns mal um. Look at Mr. Shone's desk. It's completely clear. Isn't that enormous machine usually on it? We can never hope to understand what goes on in the great detective's mind, Mr. Naruhodo. Why, next time we are invited, we may find he's vacated the entire suite. That's scarily plausible, actually. Was is vacated? Räumen, achso. Man sich auch denken kann. Da. There's all sorts on these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lot of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high, I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at any moment. Oh, it's such a charmingly untidy collection of paraphernalia, isn't it? It just looks messy to me, like my desk. But you, Mr. Naruhodo, must learn to tidy up after yourself. No favoritism there then. Okay. Schicker Stuhl auf jeden Fall. Here the brief. The fire's burning comfortably in the grate again today. Okay, well, das Lagerfeuer. It's a very different feeling to a Japanese hibachi somehow. Oh, look at that photographic print of a lady displayed on the mantelpiece. Could it be... Yes, it must be. It's a woman. Oh, how exciting. Is that supposed to mean something to me? The woman. Welche Frau? The woman? These are all mementos of Mr. Shone's past cases, I think. If he'd been involved in my case, I wonder if the beefsteak from La Carnival would be on display there. A mystery shoe, a curious hammer, some mysterious dancing man, a bust of Napoleon. Ah, what an entrancing collection. It looks like an untidy assortment of junk to me, rather like what's on my own shelves. Well, you really ought to learn to keep your things in order, Mr. Naruhodo. No favoritism there at all. Fanboy. Ist hier irgendwas? Nein. Gehen wir nochmal rüber. Ah, oh lol. Das ist wohl Iris Reich hier. Iris' beautiful tea set is there on the table as usual. A cup of one of her special herbal blends always helps me to relax when I'm feeling the strain. The English pastime of tea has many similarities with our own tea ceremony customs, don't you think? It's the idea of hospitality behind it. That's the essence of tea. Okay, was ist hier oben? That charming little white shelf, and full of charming little bottles too. But the contents of them aren't quite so charming, it seems. Science is the future, Mr. Naruhodo. You can't deny it. I'm saving my money so that I can buy some chemistry apparatus as well. Law, chemistry, takedown throws. What diverse skills you boast, Miss Susato. As useful as they are, I'm not sure that my throwing skills are worthy of inclusion in that list. Oh Mann. Okay, eine Schreibmaschine. Come to think of it, I haven't seen Iris doing much writing recently. But there's paper already set up in the typewriter. Look, as if she's about to start. Da schreibt sie dann das Rance Magazine, die Geschichten von Herlock Shows. That reminds me, when I mentioned that Iris was in the process of writing a full-fledged novel, Mr. Natsume was most impressed. Ah yes, Mr. Natsume. That's what I'll be doing too, once I'm back in Japan, he said through tightly clenched fists and teeth. Okay. Ist hier noch irgendwas? Hier hinter noch? Nein. Okay, dann setzen wir uns mal zum Frühstück. It looks like that huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. It seems very sturdy, with an equally sturdy look. Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't go around opening things. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? You're very mischievous. How did you come to that conclusion? Okay, Iris. Wagahai. Mr. Natsume's cat seems to have settled into his new home then. Ach so, das ist die Cat von Mr. Natsume, lol. Oh yes, and I've become very attached to little Veggie. It would appear his previous owner has completely forgotten to him. Cats are unfeeling creatures. Their mews as empty as their hearts of the muses. Oh man. No. If Mr. Natsume had no intention of taking Waggy back to Japan, I wonder why he kept him in the first place. I expect he would have taken him if he could. But pets are strictly forbidden aboard steamships in our experience. True, yeah. And for good reason. Terrible things can happen if the rules of passage are not obeyed. Wie hat er die denn aber hier hingekriegt nach England, ist die Frage. Oder hat er sie hier gekauft? Well, I don't mind, because Waggy is adorable. Yes, he really is. Oh yes, what about the door? I don't remember seeing that tiny thing in the main door before. Where did that come from? Oh, you noticed. You are observant, Bruno. Look, I used this. It's my latest invention. Okay, was ist das? What is that? I call it the cat flapomat. Gosh, a machine for making doors. Just for cats? That's right, it can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Veggie in seconds. And it can do it in any door at all, no matter what it's made of. It's very powerful, you see? Wouldn't it have been quicker just to make the cat flap, rather than making a machine to make the cat flap? Well, yes, maybe, but now I can make cat flaps anywhere I like. Wow, I think it's wonderful. Cat flap ist dann so eine Katzenklappe, denke ich mal. You must make one for us in the door of our office upstairs, Iris. She really knows how to come up with unconventional inventions, this girl. Hehehe. Oha. Oh, what was that? Wagahai? What was that? Oh no! Wagahai is tangled up in your violin. I think he thinks it's a toy. No, what's he doing to it? Oh dear, Mr. Shone's precious violin. Oh nein, das wird ihn ja nur noch mehr in die Depression stürzen. Why should I care? What? I shouldn't be surprised. If the cat is a more accomplished musician than I know. Mr. Shones really is in poor spirits, isn't he? Well, anyway, I put it back where it lives, shall I, Hurley? Out of the cat's reach, if possible. Maybe we should assess the damage. Examine. Okay. Hier ist die Geige. Die Violine. So this is a violin, is it? It's a Stradivarius, one of the finest violins in the world, made by the renowned Italian luthier, Antonio Stradivari. Was ist Luthier? Geigenbauer, okay, und Stradivarius, so hieß man im Walking Dead Folge tatsächlich. Stradivari, okay. Antonio Stradivari. Oh, I see. It doesn't really look like anything special to me. I happened upon it covered in dust, languishing in a pawn shop down a nondescript back alley. The broker had no ideas of its value, so I was able to purchase it for mere 55 shillings. How honorable of you. And until today, it has been my faithful companion in every great Paganini-inspired performance I have made. I ask you, is there reason to live in a world devoid of music, to tolerate this bland existence? No. There's none. Mr. Sholmes? What, dear madam, what? My thoughts are preoccupied with fancies of release from this dull routine. Well, it's about the violin. It looks very different to normal, don't you think? What do you mean, Mrs. Sato? Oh, Susie's right! Yes. The tone of the wood is completely different. Okay. And that's not all. I'm sure there was no crack there before. Wait, it's not even the right size, is it? What's this? I'm terribly sorry to have to tell you this, Mr. Sholmes, but that instrument isn't a violin at all. Okay, wurde über den Tisch gezogen, oder was? Then, what? I believe it's an entirely different instrument, called a viola. What? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you're right. You are quite right. This isn't my faithful Stradivarius. So what? Wait, it's this piece of stringed flotsam. Not your faithful performing partner, then. Ah, I see what must have happened. You do, Iris? This is just a simple mix-up. It sounds like Iris might be able to tell us exactly what's happened if we ask her. Okay, dann fragen wir sie mal. Mix-up. What did you mean by a mix-up, Iris? Well, you see, this violin. Sorry, this viola, I mean. Was at Windy Banks until last week. At the pawnbroker's. Not Mr. Sholmes' beloved musical partner. There's a proverb from the East, with which you are no doubt familiar, my dear fellows. Always let the beloved child travel. Yes, indeed. So you sent your beloved violin to the pawnbrokers in the hope that it would experience personal growth? Oh, what a wonderful idea! Das ist eine ziemlich alberne Idee. Last week, I pawned my great analytoscope in order to release my precious instrument. But it would appear Mr. Windybank mistakenly furnished me with this tawdry fiddle instead. But my ears cannot be deceived by the hollow timbre of this piece of timber. No, but your every sense was deceived by the fact that it just had strings. Pshaw! A fine state of affairs this is, and why I always say, Mr. Naruhodo, never trust a pawnbroker, they will try to fiddle you every time. But earlier you told us you could think of a pawnbroker as an extreme secure vault. Come, Mr. Naruhodo, dilly-dallying will get you nowhere. Sorry? Crunching your toes with that vacant aspect, thrusting your coffee so obtusely. Are you not a little embarrassed by your own conduct, considering the urgency with which we are faced? We must visit Mr. Windybank's brokery at once. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Sholmes? Precisely, Mr. Sato, without a moment's delay. But I haven't finished my bacon and eggs. My dear fellow, surely you do not still intend to crunch your bacon with an increasingly vacant aspect. Das ist vacant. Frei, leerstehend, leer. Und?
Vacant.
Vacant, okay. To thrust your egg ever more obtusely. Alright, say no more. Let's go then. Don't worry, Bruno. I'd be happy to heat it up for you again later. Oh, thank you, Iris. As it happens, I am rather curious to see what a British pawnbroker looks like. Okay. Dann gehen wir mal zum Pfandleiher. A new location has been added. Baker Street, Winnie Bank's Pawnbrokery, a British pawnbroker shop. How fascinating. A pawnbroker's shop in Baker Street. Mr. Jones is a regular, it seems. Okay, dann würde ich sagen, gehen wir da mal hin.